Hi everybody. I'm back. We had a big break in the videos, basically due to an illness of mine, collapsed lung, a few things like that. But I'm back, and I will be getting to that big video I have promised, where we're going to outline a film, or the way I outline a film anyway, live. I'll just be doing it, taking through the thoughts. But today's video, back to a normal one. I had a conversation just recently on a forum with another writer called Terry Dennis. Terry had very bravely put up the first few pages of her screenplay, and people were like making comments and this sort of stuff. So I read the first page, and I just basically, when I give comments like this, I basically said to Terry how I would have approached it, what I would have done. And then she gave me back comments on what she was trying to achieve with her approach to the story. And just to paraphrase the story, we see a young girl, 15, walking along. She walks past a laundromat, gives some money to a homeless guy, stops, looks at some lovely Nike shoes, sees that they're expensive, keeps moving, and drops into a place that cashes checks. She hands her check over. The person at the counter makes a comment of how young she looks. She says, "I'm 15, that's mine, I have a job." And that was the bit that I summarised. I pointed out that I would have got her closer at the time. Started with her maybe giving money to the homeless guy. The establishing shot probably wasn't needed. And then got just, in later, leave earlier, compressed it a bit. And Terry pointed out that she was posing a question of what is that young lady doing at the mall and which shop is she going to. So as she approaches each shop, no. Oh, she's going to the cash, the place that cashes checks. That was a question being posed. But was the question unusual enough, which is a bit of the conversation that we moved around? If it had been maybe we had have had a reason why we didn't expect to see her at this shopping mall. So I put to Terry that if she had been dressed as a young person, which I'm not, I'm just cold, but in young person's clothing, and jeans, that sort of stuff, and she walked into a Hilton hotel with all the marble, brass and glass, and everybody else is in suits and ties, and the women are dressed very elegantly, and this 15-year-old walks in dressed like a 15-year-old. The question that people would ask then is, what is that kid doing in the Hilton? Why is a person who's dressed not in Hilton way in a Hilton? Having this 15-year-old at a strip mall isn't unusual. It doesn't really pose that much of a question. We take on more of a voyeur, an observation, where we're watching what's happening. We're not wondering what shop she's going to go to. The question is, why is she going to the mall, maybe? Or maybe we're going to see something very competent, like in a heist film, like in those robbery films, like the Ocean's movies, when people do something very competent and it becomes like competency porn. That would be the question. What are we going to get from the girl? Not what are we going to get, what shop is she going to? Because a teenager going to a mall to visit a shop doesn't pose a question, because it doesn't give us intrigue. Sure, we'll need to find out eventually why she's there, because otherwise it's boring. But we need to pose a question. If we're going to pose a question visually, it has to be, why is this happening? What is unusual? Why is this unusual situation before me there? Why are everyone in clown suits robbing a bank? Introduction of the Joker. Most bank robbers don't dress as clowns. And if they are robbing a bank, we get the competency porn thing. So if we're going to use a visual statement to pose a question, it's got to be the friction between the visual elements we're seeing, the confrontation, the conflict between those two things. Like if you've seen Monty Python, there's a whole lot of old ladies dressed up with handbags and stuff, reenacting the Battle of Britain. That conflict makes it funny that these old women, not even dressed up in any sort of costume, just dressed as little old suburban mid-50s, 60s housewives in England, are beating each other up with their handbags, reenacting the Battle of Britain. That's what makes it funny, is there's that weird tension, the weird conflict. So if you're going to pose a visual question, make sure that it's a contrast, a conflict, that the person watching that image can't resolve that in their own head. Thank you, Terry, for letting me discuss this stuff. And this is the sort of conversation you want to have with another writer, the way me and Terry went back and forth. I said, I think this. And she said, well, I was aiming for that. And I would have done it this way. And then she pointed out why maybe the way I was going to do it wouldn't have worked for her story. If you're going to ask people for help, if people give you their opinion is never wrong. It's because what they believe. It's to do the, nah, you're wrong, you missed the point, you don't understand, I'm a brilliant writer, you just don't get it, is never going to engage people in conversation. Terry is very engaging in the way we discussed her writing. More than happy, if I bump into her again on the forums, more than happy to discuss anything with her. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. If you could do these things, it'd be super, super helpful. Like I said, I'm going to do the outlining of the film very, very soon. Just need to get a little bit more health back. And until next time, guys, keep writing. Bye.